Thanks for tuning into the Glenn Beck Jr. Show. Tonight guest is Chris Barreto, Secretary of the Oregon Republican Party. Welcome, Chris. I hear you are running for re-election, right?
Yes, Junior, and thanks for having me.
Chris, you've been secretary for 2 years. Let's talk about what you've accomplished. Let's start with your duties.
Well, as secretary, as you might imagine, I sit in on meetings and record what goes on at the meetings. That's my main job.
That must be pretty dull. So your main job is to record what happens at meetings, yes?
Then I send them into the members of the executive committee and they review and approve them at the next meeting.
Chris, I note here that it says in the bylaws that the secretary shall distribute the minutes within 10 days of the meeting. That's one of your duties, right?
Yes, that's what it says, but I distribute them at the next executive meeting because they haven't been approved yet.
I see. So, when you meet next, it's been how long between meetings? On average?
Well, for central committee meetings that could be months, but for executive committee meetings it's usually about 4 to 5 weeks or so. You bet. Exactly right.
So if someone wanted to know what happened at an executive committee meeting on, let's say, the first day of the month, they would have to wait until the next meeting, maybe 4 or 5 weeks later, before they could find out.
That's right, because the minutes have not been approved yet.
Now, Chris, I've done some research in preparation for this interview and I found that there were 2 meetings that were pretty controversial and you didn't follow that rule.
Oh, Hunter. You must be talking about the June 16, 2014 meeting where the committee had to get the word out very quickly so that PCPs wouldn't be confused by a website we did not set up.
No, Chris, that wasn't the meeting I was talking about. I didn't find minutes for that meeting, just a message from you to everyone in the party warning them that the Oregon PCP's news website was not an official party website. I was actually referring to the July 11, 2014 petition meeting. The minutes were sent out the very next day, so no one had a chance to approve them before they were sent out to everyone.
That was a special case. In the meeting, the committee censured Becky Lemler and Wendy Froome. We had to let everyone know about that right away.
But that was in the summer when all the campaigns in the state were working on electing Republicans in November, right?
Yes, that's what we say when we want people to shut up. We tell them we are working to elect Republicans. But when something comes up that we need to shut down, we can't waste any time. We have to do it right away.
So the whole purpose of the July 11th meeting was to shut down Oregon PCP news.
You make it sound bad. You have to remember that it is our duty as the executive committee to protect Republicans so that they don't get information that's not being approved.
I think I understand, Chris. I can see how that would make a big problem getting Republicans elected if Republicans were to get news from an unauthorized source. And Chris, we have to take a break here, but we'll get back to this right after the break. Hunter Thompson, stay tuned for the next segment in this and one of the interview with Chris.